Well, hey there. I bet you were wondering if I was going to give up on this Jeep, right? Well, so far I'm not giving up. I am waiting to get pricing from the guys at Novak on some options for the drivetrain. I've got pricing on the tub. I've got pricing on the frame. I've pretty much put together a spreadsheet with all the expected costs. And so what I'm going to do today is I'm going to work on this tub a little bit myself. Last week, I took the back corner off. This week, I'm going to work on this front area here and see if I can get it straightened out. I went and got me a set of just cheapo sheet metal tools or body hammers and stuff. So I figure I've got nothing to lose. If I can't get this tub straightened out, then I know what the cost is going to be to bring a new one in, and that will help me make up my decision. But we're still all COVID locked down, so there's nothing better to do. So I'm going to work on this thing a little bit today. So let's tear into it. I've never done body work before, but no time like the present to learn, right? Okay, well, what I've done is I have done my body work, and I've now just sprayed a coat of primer across here so that we can kind of see what's going on. This is kind of like when I was a drywall finisher, you got to get the shadows on there. So we definitely have an issue there. It's that chunk inside of there that's a support for the tub, and so this line that we're seeing is a high spot, and we knew there was a high spot there, but that's the seam on the inside where that piece is. So okay, so we got that side looking like that, and when we come around to the inside, we're here. So it's that piece right there that's caused me the grief there.
as it turns out, I thought I was working on the bad side of the Jeep when I was over there on the passenger side. So I came over here to the driver's side, and I really just, had not really been looking at this side all that much because it was up against the wall and it's not as easy to get to. So kind of out of sight, out of mind, and I started grinding the paint off there and got into a huge pile of bondo up at the front there, right in that front corner. And it's even worse than the passenger side. So I'm not sure where the point is that this thing has to kind of go back to being square, and I'm not really sure if just pounding out these sides is going to do it. But I'll show you here. I put the straight edge up on this driver's side after I kind of ground it all down, and you can just see it's extremely rough here. I don't even think they really tried to pound that out at all, and they just kind of like the back end, just slathered the bondo on. So we'll see. I kind of gave it up for today, but we'll ding on this a little bit tomorrow and see if I can have any luck getting that there. And then what I'm doing is I'm actually putting the doors on, the half doors, just to see if they're going to line up, because that's kind of my indication that everything's still crooked, is the doors aren't really fitting. So probably this tub is toast, but we will see.
All right, well, the tail of the tape is what we're going to talk about here. So this is passenger side. Basically, if I measure from the firewall to the door, top of the door opening, I have 33.5 inches. Okay, so bear with me. We're going to go around to the other side. Okay, so on the other side, though, we have 33 inches to the same spot. So there's a 1/2 inch difference in the door openings, and I think it's all made up mostly in this crumpled up zone here. So same applies if I go from the firewall. I went from the firewall back to this corner right here. So if we do that. Okay, so now we're measuring from the firewall to this joint right here on the back. 74 3/4 or 74 3/8 basically. And when we come over to this side, we got 75 1/4. So we got a 1/2 inch difference in the door openings and a little more than that at the back corners. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the trusty high lift jack. I'm going to put a board along the door there. I'm going to go from the firewall to the door, from the dash area of the firewall to the door opening, and just put a little pressure on it with the high lift, and then maybe even heat up that chunk up there that's all crumpled up, and see if I can get that to straighten up. If I can't, then that's my out of square issue that we don't seem to be able to solve. So that may put the last nail in the coffin on this tub. So I'll show you once I get that Rube Goldberg contraption set up what it looks like, and we'll see what happens when we give this a try. Don't try this at home, folks. Using a high lift jack for body adjustments is probably not recommended. All right, well, I just thought I'd point out a couple of other spots where I found some deformed metal that seems to be more indicative of our issue. So I'm not sure how that's going to show up very well, but that's kind of a indent there. So we already saw over here on the back passenger side of the tub, you can see it in the inside, that side panel of the box is all bent up. And then I'm going to take us up to the front here. So right here is behind the roll bar, where the roll bar goes in. You can see that this is where some of that damage carried forward. You know, that's supposed to look more like that, just flat, although even that's not all that flat over there. But this is huge kind of
big dent here. So this is why I'm really struggling with this tub. Okay, so let's do an inventory. So we've got the driver's side back panel here has a busted out piece where the spare tire carrier went. We've got all this along here that's destroyed. We got this panel that goes in and then out and then in again, and if we go down the side of this, as much as I've tried to get it straight, it's got a bunch of waves in it. It's not too easy to see, but there's a big crack here in the floor. It goes at least to here, and it goes like that around where I think that's the bolt that that step went on. And then over there we got all the disastrous trouble that we just can't fix there. We got our smashed up corner there, and this area right here is, I'm not sure I'd ever be able to fix that. I mean, I could obviously bondo that, but it's a pretty big divot there, an indent there. So then obviously my spot up here that I haven't really finished, and actually, you know what, had I known I was starting on the good side, I'd have worked on the other side before I did all this work, because I think that if that was it, that might be salvageable. But you know, you could put a little filler in there, or you could even maybe weld that over a little bit and grind it down. But that's what we have right now. So that's probably the inventory of the tub. Oh, and I took the windshield down and I found some rust over there on the front corner on the top of the firewall here. So I thought the firewall was really the good part of this thing, but it's got some issues as well. If we look really close here, there's some more indications of that bent metal. Kind of everywhere you look in here, there's just a hump or a bulge or a bend or something. So this tub is just so not square. It's not funny. All right, here's me in my imagination driving my great Jeep down the road. I think Clint Eastwood once said, a man's got to know his limitations, right? Well, this tub is beyond me to fix. So I'm taking an inventory of what I got. I got this great steering wheel to start with here. Everything else on this Jeep is toast. But man, have I got a great steering wheel. So this might be the project Jeep that starts with nothing more than a steering wheel. And yeah, the steering wheel, it's in good shape. It's in great shape. So let's build a Jeep around that, shall we? All right, well, lest you think I've lost my mind and gotten a little too nutty, I might be getting a little too nutty. But anyway, so I put the high lift jack up here between the firewall and the door. I clamped a piece of 2x4 to it. And I started kind of trying to see if I could push it back. What I was hoping was just all of a sudden everything would go sproing and put itself back in straightness. That didn't happen. In fact, what started to happen was this side of the wheel well here started going dunk, 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 dunk. And the outside of the bed started going dunk, dunk, dunk. You could see the metal like bowing and flexing and popping. So I gave up on it. And I pulled the wiring harness off. I loosened up the dashboard. I'm going to take the steering column out, which is actually new. That's a good steering column. I'm going to drop the dash, pull all the stuff out of there, and again, I'm just waiting to see what I'm really up against with the motor and transmission. If I'm going to do a resto mod and I'm going to do a V8 in here, then I just need to figure out what the budget is for that. But I know how much the tub's going to cost. I know how much the frame is going to cost, and if this is going forward
it's going to need both of those for sure. There's just no solving this mess that somebody made instead of repairing it. Or maybe they should have totaled this Jeep when it got hit the first time. I found another crack up on the bottom of the floor. Once I kind of got everything cleaned up under there, I found a big old crack. Well, not a big old crack, but kind of another, looks like a stress crack. And then I did find over here on the driver's side on the floor, there's a panel that's been cut out and kind of screwed down. So this thing was obviously not fixed at a real body shop. But anyway, so I'm on hold until I get my final pricing on what we're going to do about a drivetrain. If that just breaks the budget, then I'm going to scrap this. I'm going to take out what parts are good, like the steering column's brand new. I may, take the gauges and see if I can sell those on eBay or something like that. And the rest of this is going to the dumpster. And the new seats and that kind of stuff just go into CJ-7, and I'll restore that one, and I will abandon this. I don't want to. I hate to give up, but I'm just not going to do this if I can't do it right. If I can't, I'm at the point where I know I'd never be satisfied. If I continued on the way we're going here, I just never feel like I was, in the back of my mind, I would just always be going, that Jeep is just not straight. Everything's out of alignment. There's a crack down there. That section up there on the floor on the driver's side, when I started working on that, I tried heating it up. I worked on it a little bit with the bodywork hammers. There's a big spot where it's like cracked out from the frame, and they just gooped a bunch of sealant in there. So that one's beyond me to fix, and the only way to fix it, I think, would be to just cut a whole section out there and weld a new section in place. And if I did that, I still wouldn't be sure that this thing isn't just still crooked. So I just can't do the crooked thing. I can't live with it. And I don't think there's any reason to put money into something that you're just always going to know was not done right. I guess I'm kind of a perfectionist. If I'm going to do a project, I'm going to do it right, and I'm going to finish it and feel good about it at the end. So that's where we're at. Is this tub is toast officially. I can't fix it. So I'm going to wrap this session up. Probably by about next week, I should know where the budget is with the drivetrain, and that will be the decision-making point right then, and I'll keep you posted. But for right now, I'm done.